going on.
So, we've had a pretty high-strung story, so I wanted to kind of settle down, do a quick story to kind of get us to relax a little bit.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit.
Okay, just
tiny
a
bit. Although it's, I think, huge news, even though I know if we clipped it, it wouldn't do that well. Solar's now the cheapest energy source out there.
Don't tell Big Oil.
Don't tell them. I don't have to. They're
Then
very
Twitter and Facebook will cancel you then.
Anyway, so solar is on track to be the new king of electricity because it turns out. Can we get the one shot on me? Just
All right, let's do that.
It turns out. This might blow everyone's mind. You guys ready? Your mind blown? Kit, you ready? Phase,
Okay.
you ready? Okay.
All right.
It's easier to capture sun coming from sunlight, coming from the sun, than it is to dig under the ocean, install oil rigs, platforms, have that go off either offshore to oil rig or to oil tankers, or pipeline it to refineries, and then on the shore, that then those refineries have to go through all this stuff to separate all the crude oil
Whoa,
out.
man, hey, yo.
And then-
You're giving us a simpler process, and so that we don't have a complicated process. What's the matter with you, man? Get away from me, you dreamer.
That's what I'm trying
you
to
madman.
explain. I understand. It's hard to explain, but I can promise everyone, it's much easier to get that sun as it's coming from the sun. I mean, we got this pretty reliable fusion reactor that's in the space than it is to do that. So yeah, this is shocking news. So that being said, under the state's policy scenario described the report that we were talking about that said that what I just said. Over the next decade, renewables meet 80% of global demand for new electricity generation. So this is important. That's a very big term because this also happened in the U.S. this year, which is that not total accumulative energy, but what we've incrementally done in the last year. Solar is actually the biggest new source of energy. You know that? In America.
Wow.
Last year, or 365 days ago. So it's already a thing that's happening. Market forces are already working on this, and so they expect that it will overtake not just the U.S., but the world, which current largest source of fuel is coal, which, everyone's like, China, you're just doing coal, even though they're not accounting for the fact that China has to fill the electricity capacity of 4 times the population of the U.S., plus they're hosting the factory infrastructure of Europe, America, and China, which everyone forgets because China has and has been for quite some time putting an enormous amount of money into solar production, which everyone forgets because it's not an easy thing for them to deal with. Anyway, so with sharp reductions in cost over the past decade, because I want to remind everyone, oil's been around for over 100 years, like refining, your John D. Rockefellers. So it's been around for, I want to say, 120 to 140 years, and in that time, they've made everything as efficient as they possibly can. And it's 30, 40 years, solar's passed right by that. So solar panels are consistently cheaper than new coal or gas-fired power plants in most countries, and solar projects now offer some of the lowest electricity ever seen. So here's another reason why. Once you make the solar panel, you just have it just sits there, and it just makes energy. Coal, oil, they need commodities that need to come in oil or gas or whatever, and then those have to be with labor trucked from one place to another. They have to then be burned to create thermal energy, which then spins a turbine, which has an enormous amount of waste. Which, by the way, if you want to go to nature to see how efficient you can make things, our cells are 40% efficient, which I don't think you can really get more efficient than the body, or it's not even human, just these cells that have had billions of years to evolve to be the most efficient. The most efficient seems to be for heat, about 40%. Cars at their best that are internal combustion engines, basically ICE, is 25-30%, and that's really extreme conditions. Most are less than that. Whereas electric cars, because they don't. So if you're like when your car's running, your engine's really hot, you touch it, ow, that's wasted energy that could have gone somewhere else. So you look at like a Tesla or any other electric car that's built in any usable way, they're like 70-80% efficient. So in every possible iteration of this, it's easier to get the energy. Mm-hmm. It's easier to maintain getting that energy. The only thing that they have some issue with is storage, which a lot of different people are working on. We already have some solutions. And it's more effective as a means of actually moving it because there's less waste in sound, heat, anything else. And that's why solar power is becoming the new king, because at some point, market forces are going to take over. And I don't care how corrupt you are, solar panels that generate energy for less money still generate money for less money.
There is an interesting conversation happening in a live stream chat, and Julie Love 101 says, but solar panels and batteries are not environmentally friendly. And
right. Well, I would say again, right now, I don't care about right now as much as I care about the future. I actually was just watching about a couple weeks ago Elon Musk's battery thing. They've pulled cobalt out of their entire battery process, or they will in a year or so. And so is it an issue right now? Sure. But the real question does something exist? The real question is something exist less than something else, and is it improving? Because if solar panels create issues, which they have their own side effects of toxicity, Lainey covered a story on that. I've covered a couple stories on that as well. That doesn't mean anything if the other option's coal.
Yeah. We got to remove ourselves from big fossil fuels. We got to get rid of fracking. Yeah, Biden, get rid of fracking. I thought you were going to listen to scientists, but obviously you're not. We have to stop digging into the Arctic. We have to really fundamentally change how we, consume energy, and we have to look at renewable energies, wind, solar,
and who knows? In 15 years, in 10 years, in 5 years, a breakthrough could come through with solar, especially if enough money gets put into it, that it's no longer toxic. Like I said, if they get batteries that are able to be mass produced that don't need slave labor from cobalt, everyone would consider that a win. Now, to get to that point, it seems like they needed that cobalt.
Yeah, but the fact is that you have a lot of industry out there that want to suppress stories like this. And again, I think this whole show is basically about censorship, and just you can't censor the fact that we need to get away from consuming fossil fuels now more than ever.
And again, my point again was that fossil fuels have had 120 years to figure out how to perfectly optimize all these systems, while they were also on top of everything and had all the research budget they could ask for. And the fact that the current upcoming system that is not number one, that is only recently even getting to a point where it's getting a huge amount, let's be real, solar panels, solar processes have really only gotten real money investment in the last decade. So the fact that they don't have everything perfectly nailed right now doesn't worry me as long as they're moving to a point where they do. Right. Because again, otherwise, what's the alternative?
Also, yeah, we also live stream chat is kind of putting a lot of comments in there right now. We got something from Matt Farr who says the need for lithium to make electric car batteries is the reason we did a coup in Bolivia, pretending to be green and exploiting other people around the world also.
And so even on that, lithium's everywhere. That's a whole separate thing that we'll probably be covering in 2 years, but I expect that lithium production, the way it currently is, as again I just described why everything is iterated right now, I don't think that that's going to be a accurate statement in about 10 or 15 years or something around there. Yeah. Because lithium's all over the planet. It's the third element. It's incredibly abundant in the Earth's crust. We just need better ways to get at it. Just ironically, in a similar way, how we only could get oil out of the ground that was right below the surface in Texas, and now we could do a bunch of other stuff. So I agree. Right now, lithium's an issue the way it's currently set, and we need to move away from it. But I think we're going to be able to.